personality and just see how we can fit within the scheme of this defense and just go out and compete hard.
Thank you.
Hey, Michael Phillips here. What were some of the things that led you to this opportunity? Obviously, you and Ron go back. Was that the primary factor in you coming here?
That's one of the biggest factors. You have some other teams that are interested, and you just try to weigh your options. And being able to come back on the East Coast and being able to reconnect with Coach Rivera, Coach Russ, and all of the other guys that I know on this staff. It definitely was something that I wanted to be a part of and wanted to be a part of. A group that came here and just really changed the culture of what's been going on in Washington.
What was it you were told about that challenge and what you guys are up against here in creating that culture?
Whenever everything is new, you have a core group of guys that have been here. They've been within one system for a long time. You're going to always face challenges trying to get guys to buy in. But there's one thing Coach Rivera has really been good at, on all the different levels that he's been on and the different teams he's gotten guys to buy in. And I don't see it being any different here. I'm just here to help that process in any way that I can.
Appreciate it.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, hey, Tom, it's John Kahn, ESPN. Thanks for doing this. I am curious, I want to ask you about Reuben Foster. What have been some of your early impressions of him?
Reuben is a guy. He's a physical specimen. I was telling somebody the other day, like you have some people that are just born to play a position. When you look at Reuben, he's one of those guys. I feel like he was born to play the linebacker spot, and just seeing him make progress each and every day, man, has truly been special. As a guy that has his own rehab story, to see Reuben being able to do the things that he's doing day in and day out, I'm extremely impressed and I'm excited for him.
And for you, during that whole lockdown phase, early this year, what was maybe the big takeaway for you? Was there a hard part or something that you took away more than another aspect of being locked down?
The hardest part is really just not having that structure that you're so used to and so accustomed to. When at certain points, like in April, you're going to get back with the team and you're going to start working out, and then you're just going to transition into OTAs and minicamp and that whole process, and not having that structure. It was tough. It was different, but it was something that within the COVID world that we all dealing with, we just had to get used to it.
Thank you.
Let's go Les real quick.
Hey Thomas, good to see you. Was curious just how much when you were obviously there when Ron was building the culture in Carolina. How different is the approach he's taking here? Is everything the same? What are the differences maybe between then and now?
You can't approach every situation the same. Obviously, that was Carolina. We're in Washington right here now, and each step, each phase has its different challenges. And Coach Rivera is a guy. He knows how to attack those challenges. He understands, that this is a much different dynamic in a world that we're in right now. When you're dealing with COVID, you have to worry about, making sure guys are doing what they're supposed to do when it comes to COVID, while also being able to establish the culture and the things that he likes to do from a coaching standpoint, defensively, offensively, and on special teams. So, right now more so than ever, it takes veteran leaders to step up and help, that process along the way. And I feel like, when you look across the board, across this team, like we have a core group of guys that are capable of helping coach get that done. And, I just want to be one of those guys.
Does he lean on the veteran guys more than he did then, or the same, or?
He's always been a coach that listened. He listened to voices. He listened to veteran guys. Being a guy that played the game, he understands, what players are going through from different stages of the game and throughout the process of the season. So he understands and he gets it. So he listens to his players. And, so far I've seen him do that as well here.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, Thomas, Ben Stanley with The Athletic. Thanks for your time. With regards to the linebacking core, there's definitely a lot of questions. Getting young guys, we're seeing if they're improved. New guys have come in. One of the new guys is Kevin Lewis. Just curious, your early thoughts on him. He's somebody that Jack Del Rio told an eye out on 2 weeks ago. So just curious what your thoughts are.
Man, he's extremely explosive. He's fast. He's physical. He has all of the qualities, all of the tools. He's a guy that I can see in this defense making a ton of plays, and I'm excited to see KPL work, man. He's extremely humble. He's a guy that comes in every day, does his job, is not afraid to ask questions, and he's going to be a great piece for this defense.
And we've also been asking everybody about what their impressions are of Dwayne Haskins, in particular people that knew him before, if he's changed, what have you. I presume you're getting your first look at him during these last few days. I'm just curious, what's your initial impression about him as a quarterback, but also one of the leaders of this team? On that position?
I've only had an opportunity really to be around him like in the workout phase, and just being able to be around him, getting to know him. He has an infectious personality. I think he's a guy that can definitely lead a team. I'm excited to have him at the helm right now, and we haven't had an opportunity to compete against one another because we're still in the first phase of this thing. And next week, once we're able to get together, I have a better assessment of what he's capable of doing. But so far, I can definitely say that he's done everything that's been asked of him.
Hey Thomas, it's Matt Barris from the Washington Times. Steve Russ, when you were talking to us, he said that you were the best leader he's been around since Steve Atwater. Just where do you kind of develop your leadership style? How do you go about leading? And is there anyone you kind of credit for teaching you how to lead?
I was fortunate enough when I got to the Carolina Panthers when I was drafted. I had a ton of veteran leadership around me. I just kind of watched how those guys maneuver, how they carried themselves. And, as the years go on, you just learn how you want to lead. I don't want to be one of those people that's always coming in just talking to people and telling them, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, when I'm not willing to do those things on my own. So, you take a approach of leading by example, not being afraid to step up and talk and speak when something needs to be said, or just going out and just doing your job day in and day out. I think guys tend to follow people that are consistent in this league or in this game, and that's something that I've tried to be for a long time, try to remain consistent in my approach.
And then you mentioned Reuben Foster and kind of your own history going with to the knee injuries. Just have you given him any advice, or has he reached out to you asking for rehab stuff?
I try to talk to Rube as much as I possibly can, man. But he's done a tremendous job. RV and the staff, they're doing a great job with him. And Reuben, he's excited, man. He's energetic. He's up tempo, and he's always just ready to get back out on the field as much as he possibly can when he has that opportunity. So I was happy to hear him being taken off of PUP and given that opportunity, and now he's just out working hard. And we're just trying to constantly encourage him to continue to fight, continue to work, and just let the chips fall where they may at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Hey Thomas, Pete Haley with NBC Sports Washington. We're all kind of curious to see how this shortened offseason affects the regular season. When it comes to tackling, do you see that kind of being an issue early on, or do you think you guys can get to where you need to be for week one in that area?
Did you say when it comes to tackling?
Tackling, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. If you look at the preseason last year, a lot of teams didn't play starters in the preseason for whatever reason. Like they set their starters down, and you didn't have a real big drop off in tackling. I think once you get to this level and coaches do a great job of coaching how to tackle and the necessary things to do, it's just I think tackling really comes down to a want to. You're either going to do it or you're not.
Thank you.
Hey Thomas, it's Jared Bell from USA Today. How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good. Just wanted to get some more insight from you about Ron Rivera and this challenge for him. What do you think makes him good for this particular situation? And are there any reflections to what you may have seen as his toughest, individual challenge in Carolina that may help prepare him for this?
I think when you look at Coach Rivera and his coaching style is one of the things that really stands out to me. He's not a coach that sits back and point fingers at his players when things don't go well. He takes full responsibility. And he encouraged the players to do the same thing, whenever things go wrong. And that's kind of who he is. And when you look at from coming over and taking over this situation and everything that has gone on within this organization, I feel like he's kind of went through something similar in Carolina when we had the situation with our owner in Carolina. He had to step up and be the face of that and not shy away from it. And that's something that I've seen him do in this situation. And that's just the kind of leader Coach Rivera is. And he's going to always encourage his players to do the right things at all times. And he stands behind anything that he's tell you. So you can respect a guy like that.
One other thing, when they cut Darius guys a few days ago, how did that resonate? I know you didn't play with Darius and have that kind of relationship, but did that send any kind of message in terms of how things are going to be run or how proactive they're going to be?
I think it sends a message, not only within this organization and this team, but across the league, and how things are going to be done and how things should be done. And, as players, we got to take responsibilities for our actions. We got to understand situations that we can get involved in and that we shouldn't be involved in ever. And that's one of the things that you should take from a situation like that, and it's kind of hard to speak on Geist's situation because I wasn't there, and I don't really know him all that well personally, but I just hope that whatever happens in that situation that everybody that was involved learned from it.
And one last thing, did you have any particular concerns about the pandemic and playing? Did you weigh whether or not you would opt out?
There was a lot of thought that kind of went into this whole pandemic thing, but when you look at the way that the NFL and the NFLPA are handling things and making sure that guys are safe with the stuff that we have to do on a daily basis, you become a lot more comfortable as a player. And for me, with this potentially being the end of the road for me, it was never a decision or a chance to opt out for me.
Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Hey, Thomas, it's Chris Russell from SI.com and 106.7 The Fan. Curious, obviously, you have strong familiarity with Ron and Coach Rust and most of the staff, but Jack Del Rio, I'm not aware of any kind of previous relationship that I'm remembering. How would you say that communication, that relationship so far is developing? And also, where do you feel like you fit ideally best in this defense?
I think just being around Coach Del Rio, getting to know him, he has a fiery personality. He's a guy that is all about coming together, continuity on defense, and guys doing their jobs day in and day out. Just developing that consistency. And when you have a coach like that, as a player, you get excited about playing for him because he's excited about the game and he's excited about, the things that we're going to be doing as a football team. And for me, it's just all about trying to figure out where I can help best. Wherever the coaches ask me to be, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. And, that's my focus right now. It's never been about, Thomas Davis and coming in and being the man. I just want to come in and help this defense succeed as much as possible. And wherever they ask me to do that at, that's what I'm going to do.
Thank you.
We got any TV, NBC4, USA? All right. Appreciate it, Tom. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas.
Appreciate you guys.